It's Calisauling on Sporting Icons. Okay, so ever since the one-sided dominant performance, if you like, from Chris Eubank Jr. over Liam Smith, inevitably the question will be, well, what happens with Chris Eubank Jr. next? Will he have a third fight with Liam Smith to unbalance the score, if you like, from currently being 1-1? Will he go fight a Triple G? That's a fight that should have happened quite a few years ago. Will he go fight for a title against maybe a Charlo or whoever? But of course, the name that pops up quite a lot outside of a Kell Brook, of course, is Conor Benn. Conor Benn was there at the fight, and he said that he weren't impressed with Chris Eubank Jr. So much so that he believes that he would stop Chris Eubank Jr. in 4 rounds. Now, sometimes a fighter needs saving from themselves. There's nothing wrong with having that ego. There's nothing wrong with having that self-belief. And I like watching Conor Benn. I've always enjoyed watching him fight. I know at the minute his reputation isn't exactly where it once was because of the whole PD scandal. Okay, I get that. And in time, I'm sure we'll find out whether or not he's going to get his license back. Will he totally clear his name? Will we get to see the evidence and whatever else? Okay, time will tell on all that. But as far as the fight is concerned, that performance from Chris Eubank Jr. is too much for Conor Benn. Too much. And as I said, listen, I like watching Conor Benn. I've always supported Conor Benn. But he's missed the levels. He's skipped the levels. And to fight Chris Eubank Jr. at middleweight as well, it's going to be a bit of a task. It really is. Of course, Conor Benn, he's always going to have that punch. He's got that aggression. He's got that determination to come forward. But going by what happened some odd years ago now, it feels like quite a while away, but really it wasn't, against Cedric Paynard, when Conor Benn got bounced around to the canvas and all that kind of thing. Listen, your chin don't change. You can improve your stamina, you can improve your ability, your skills, and of course your power. But what you can't do is improve your chin. You just can't. Chris Eubank Jr. is unrelenting. He is. Now, I'm not going to say I don't give Conor Benn any kind of chance. Of course you do, okay? And to be honest, part of me will be a little bit torn as to who it is that I'll be supporting in that fight. Providing, of course, Conor Benn can clear everything up that's been hanging over him for quite some time. If he can't, then, okay, this fight shouldn't happen then, right? But and again, it should happen in the UK, in my opinion. But if it don't, of course, they're going to look to make as much money as they can, maybe in Dubai or Saudi Arabia, however. But I don't see, outside of really a puncher's chance, that Conor Benn has. Now, is this a cash out from Eddie Hearn? We know that Eddie Hearn has been desperate to create another pay-per-view fighter. Okay, some of his pay-per-view fighters are coming toward the end of their career, like Anthony Joshua. How long does he have left? Does he have a couple of fights left? Does he have a couple of years left? Time will tell. Dillian Whyte, he's reaching the end of his. Obviously, Kell Brook is now retired. Tony Bellew's retired and all that kind of stuff. So who's he really got that's going to be the next pay-per-view fighter? Well, we know that he wants it to be Conor Benn. And he's been wanting that for a long, long time. Is Conor Benn pay-per-view? Well, he's never won a belt. Or a major title, at least anyway. He's never won a British, a European, and hasn't challenged for a world title. And wins over Chris Algieri and these kind of ones, I don't think he's going to prep him enough. I really don't. And again, all this inactivity as well. Of course, apparently he could be out in about 2 or 3 weeks' time in America, I think it is. So not long to get that sorted out. But who's he really going to fight in America? It's not going to be anybody that's going to make you go, oh, that's a good fight. Of course it isn't. It's going to be a knockover job. And that's fine. Knockover jobs are fine. And there's nothing wrong with his progression. But he's been skipping the levels. You don't skip levels and go fight Chris Eubank Jr. Liam Smith, whether you want to say that he was injured, whether he made the weight wrong, whatever, okay? He's still a world-class elite fighter. He's been there. He's done it. He's a former world champion. He's been in there with Canelo, with Herman Munguia, and all this kind of stuff. Okay, he's been around. He's seen it. And look what Chris Eubank Jr. done. I think Eddie Hearn's getting a little bit desperate for a next pay-per-view fighter. And ultimately, The ones who will decide whose pay-per-view are the fans. And a lot of people won't be happy with the fact, unless of course he manages to totally clear his name, so we all get to see exactly that he has cleared his name, and hopefully he has. Okay, and hopefully he can. Fans will decide who's pay-per-view and who isn't. You don't fail test and then get pay-per-view. Not straight away, at least, anyway. Unless, of course, you can clear your name. And as I said, hopefully he does. So, for me, I think that Chris Eubank Jr. against Conor Benn, as of right now, is a mismatch. It is. There'll be no boiling Chris Eubank Jr. down to 157 or 156, whatever it was supposed to be. There'll be none of that. So this is going to be playground for Chris Eubank Jr. But at the same time, Chris Eubank Jr., he keeps calling him a cheat and whatever else. And if Chris Eubank Jr. really believes that he is, then why are you fighting him? Why would you want to fight him? Whether you feel you can beat him even if he is doing what he's doing. Why would you want to give him a payday? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, surely as well. I mean, I don't know why all these promoters keep wanting to keep Chris Eubank Jr. domestic. Let him fight for a world title. Let him fight for a world title. That win over Liam Smith, he's earned the right. Has he not? Would Charlo be willing to fight him? I don't know even what Charlo's doing nowadays, but maybe a Triple G, one last hurrah, one last payday. I don't think Triple G's got the belts anymore, but he's still a big name. Anyway, for me, I don't think that it's a wise move for Conor Benn. And listen, I understand what Eddie Hearn wants to do. He's going to hope that Conor Benn wins. In which case, he gets a pat on the back from Nigel, and he's got himself a pay-per-view fighter. But if he loses, then one or two things can happen. Depends on how he loses, of course. If he gives a good account of himself, oh well, you know what, he gave a good account of himself and he moved up 2 weight divisions. He shot for greatness, all that kind of stuff. But if he goes in there and gets absolutely mauled, how do you bounce back from that? Because Chris Eubank Jr. ain't no Cedric Paynard. He's not. He ain't no Chris Algieri. He's none of these guys. So when you skip the levels, I've got a feeling Conor Benn may find out the hard way. He may. But hey, listen, of course people are going to watch it. Listen, I'm going to watch it. Of course I'm going to watch it. But I think it's a risky move. This is a cash out, is what it is. I think Eddie Hearn is looking at the short term rather than the long term, but hoping that it's going to be a long term with Conor Benn. But I've got a feeling the road stops with Chris Eubank Jr. But hey, listen, you never know. Boxing's boxing. Things happen. Who knows? Maybe Conor Benn will go in there and just twist him like a pretzel and knock him smooth out. But it's unlikely to happen. Anyway, my thoughts. Drop me yours. Click on the subscribe. Catch you next video.